Welcome to Brandon Debunks the World. So yeah, put on your swimmies because we're going to dive headfirst into the shallow end. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and visit us on Patreon, or the IRS is going to repossess my house. In this three-part series, we're going to cut out the disinformation, the made-for-media dollar-making machine, and the outright insanity that surrounds the UFO-UAP phenomenon. In the first episode, we are going to look at the history and development of these craft. The second episode will focus on the deception against the general public, and the final episode will delve into the present situation, realities of advanced tech, and the future of warfare. We start our journey somewhere around the 1930s. At this time in history, there were a whole host of characters making huge strides in every area needed for advanced propulsion research. Notably, Thomas Townsend Brown, who co-developed and demonstrated electrogravitics at the Naval Research Lab in 1932. Nikola Tesla's independent gravitational theory of 1930, and rumored German scientists in the late 30s working with rotating mercury engines for the same effect. Oddly, as the war ramped up, and one would assume more research go into something that can upend the war, instead, it goes silent. And anyone looking at or questioning it is ousted from the scientific community. I could literally go on an hour tangent about this, but I will save you the boredom. Flash forward to 1945's first atomic bomb test. What they discovered wasn't just a way to end the war, or how to unleash the power of the sun on their enemies. They discovered something far more valuable. A synthetic structure called quasi-crystals, setting in motion every alien Antarctic Nazi UFO David Wilcock's cover-up and conspiracy in the last 80 years. A paper published and released recently exposed the fact that at the first bomb test site, the high energies and pressures created these quasi-crystals, a room temperature-like superconducting material, but in small, useless quantities. Let me show you why this is so important. In this 2018 patent issued by the US Navy and accepted, see this right there? This is a craft that can cut right-angled donuts on a dime, go from space to underwater in mere seconds, all with the help of room temperature superconductors and high-density electromagnetic fields, the holy grail of modern science. The problem is, in the 1940s, while having a good foundation through Brown, Tesla, and a host of unnamed paperclip German scientists, we don't have the abundance of room temperature superconductors at that moment, but we do have low-temperature ones. In August of 1946, this guy, Admiral Richard E. Byrd, the most trusted man in uniform and hell of a cold weather explorer, was sent to Antarctica with the largest exploration team to date, 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft. Just to survey. This was a mission to securely test these prototype craft in an environment cold enough and secret enough for the superconductors they had managed to black budget at the time. Byrd was commented as saying once, as well as reports from servicemen who spoke of craft that could take out our planes with no problem, flying out of sight in mere seconds. And since the world was on high alert from the recent skirmish with the Kraut Goblins, it made a great cover story for the theorists. Nazi bases and Nazi UFOs in the Antarctic, which became Hollow Earth, which became alien bases, which became Flat Earth, which became the ice wall, which, you get it. Scary the rabbit holes we dodge when being logical, Jump forward to July 1947. A test craft went down in, Roswell. I hate even saying that name. A craft they were testing at high altitudes, carried aloft by a balloon to reach far below sub-zero temps, had crashed. The end. Pilot was possibly killed, but no aliens, except for the ones they put in your head. The best cover-up in history was planted that day as a seed, and it was called aliens. Around this point, though, the government made some strides in superconductors, and it was obvious how. The military had set off 215 nuclear tests above ground in such a short span, and enriched uranium wasn't something you just go to the drugstore and buy back then. If this was just for a test, or just a show of power, it was pointless. The Russians knew we had the bomb. The Japanese damn sure did, and the war was over. Why keep setting them off, if not for a manufacturing purpose? Maybe to create usable portions of this new superconductive material. Why spend all those billions just to prove an already proved theory? It sounds odd. After these breakthroughs, we see an overabundance of these craft popping up everywhere, from DC to Mount Rainier. And as time progressed, so did the designs, and so did the disinformation campaign. Thank you for watching Brandon Debunks the World. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and check us out on Patreon, or not. It's your call, no pressure. Comment down below, give us some ideas for more shows, or just vent from the safety of your basement about how wrong I am with no repercussions or, real world consequences.